Hello, I'm Chaplain Barbara. Welcome to Fresh Fire International Ministries Wisdom Wednesday. I would like to talk about the title is Through Our Actions. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a video, a Wisdom Wednesday video on witnessing for Christ. And there was an incident. God can use anything to get you to understand things better, to get you to thinking on things. And there was an incident. I wasn't involved, but I observed the incident. And when everything was over, the person said, well, if that's how a Christian is, I'd rather not be one. I'll stay a sinner. Whoa. I was like, whoa. And I came home because that thing bothered me. It really bothered me. And this is not going to be a deep lesson, but it's a practical lesson. And it's a lesson for those of us who are Christians, who are out here wanting people to know that we're Christians and trying to win souls for Christ. We have to remember when we say to people, I'm a Christian, they are looking at you. They are watching you. They're looking at you. They're seeing how you do things. And I remember coming up, they used to always say, you never know who's watching you. And that's so true. And especially once you put it out there that you are a Christian, people are looking at you on your job. You know, even at church, you have people who come to church who don't know the Lord, but the Lord got them in there and they're watching and they're seeing how we act and behave to each other, things we say, what we do. The old saying goes, action speaks louder than words. And we have to remember people who don't know the Lord, they don't understand that, no, we're not perfect yet. We're growing in Christ. And as we grow, we learn and we do better. But they only think of, oh, they say they're Christians, so they're perfect. No. But we have to be mindful. So we have to be mindful of the words we speak. We have to be mindful of how we act towards people. We need to make sure that when people look at us, they can see Christ. When they look at us, they can see something different. We have to be very mindful of how we speak, what we do, showing kindness, being courteous. I'll give you an incident. I was walking and the lady, I was at the mall, and the lady was walking, and she walked into me because she was on her phone, not paying attention. Who knows? She could have children and was like, oh, my kids are calling me, let me check or whatever. But she bumped into me. And I said to her, I said, oh, excuse me. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I wasn't paying attention. She said, thank you. I could have said, what's the matter with you? And then she could have said something and it would have been a back and forth and it would have been a bad situation. But I showed kindness in that situation because you never know what a person's going through. So I said, excuse me. And then she turned around and apologized. So we have to remember to think of things like that. We have to be so and I'm not saying to be fake. We're not being fake, but we just have to be mindful that people know we're Christians. So, because you tell people, I'm a Christian at your job, at your work. So we have to be mindful when we're doing things, when we're speaking, not to speak harshly, and never argue the Bible. We don't have to argue the Bible. If a person doesn't, you give your opinion, you say what you have to say. If they choose not to believe it or whatever, or agree with it, it's okay. Don't argue the Bible. Say, okay, well, that's your opinion and this is mine. And we're just going to agree to disagree. Because arguing, it gets ugly. And then you walk away hurt, they walk away hurt. I think about Paul. You know, God used him, Paul, in powerful ways. In Romans, hold on, paraphrasing, Romans 15, verses 18 through 19. It's like, yet I dare not boast about anything except what Christ has done through me, bringing the Gentiles to God by the message, by the way he wanted me to do it. They were convinced through the power of miracles and signs and wonders. But the thing was, Paul did what Christ wanted him to do. So by how he treated and showed people, he won them. He won the Gentiles because of how he was. We have to show kindness. We have to be polite. We have to think sometimes before we speak. Because the old saying is, you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. And I just want us to remember, we all have been shut in and we're now mingling and going out. And, you know, we just have to do better. Some of us have been shut in. We're so glad to get outside. We are just so excited. We're not paying attention when we're doing certain things. And sometimes, you've been shut in for a while. You haven't been dealing and talking with people. So, we have to learn how to re-engage, and talk with people. But just remember, people are watching you. And through our actions, we can either draw them closer to Christ, or through our actions, we can have them go, don't want to know about that Christ. So we have to remember, our actions bring people closer or push them away. And we have to ask Christ to help us. We all have areas that we need to be built up in. All of us have a bad day. I'm not saying that. We all get a bad day sometime. But we have to, ask God to help us in those areas where we're weak, to build us up so that we can be a good witness, and so that we, through our actions, through our tongue, through our behavior, we won't turn people away from wanting to know about Christ because of how we do. So I just want us to remember, through our actions, we draw them in or we push them away. So just remember, people are watching and looking, because we are to be the light. We are the light. We are to shine. And yes, like I said, there are times we're not going to shine, but we're asking God to help us to be the best that we can be, and to make sure our actions show the love of Christ, that through our actions, we will draw them into Christ and not push them away. I pray you enjoyed this Wisdom Wednesday. I pray to see you next week. Fresh Fire, we are praying for you. We want the best for you. And if you need to reach us to tell us anything, how you like our Wisdom Wednesdays, or if you need prayer or anything, please reach out to us through our website, www.ffiministries.com. We are here for you. Be blessed and see you next week.